All right, so welcome back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Unframe of Mind show where we have uncomfortable conversations without a condom. And today we have a special guest. He has been a guest on the show before.
Multiple times.
By the name of David Mecey.
Well, thank you so much. I am excited about being back with you, gentlemen.
All
Good.
Right. Fantastic.
And I think the last time we had you on the show, I don't think a magazine was even thought of at that time. I had spoken with you a couple of months ago, and you came to me with the idea of wanting to create an online magazine and put all your talent and everything that you've learned from the 20-plus years at Playboy put to work. So kind of give us the beginning stages of the magazine and how it came about.
Well, actually, it's been in the works for well over a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, sort of secret. Sort of top secret kind of thing. But I guess it was somewhat induced by the whole pandemic thing. During that period, no one was doing anything. We couldn't do anything. Most of my clients that I worked for fell to the wayside. So I started thinking, what am I going to do for my photography side of my life? And I wanted to continue to shoot. I still wanted to do photographs of models. So I started thinking, what would be a way to do that? And over the years, since leaving the magazine and back in the 2000s, especially after I joined Facebook and started getting a fairly good audience there, a lot of the people were saying, David, why don't you start your own magazine? And I'm like, well, that's a big chunk. That's something that's an enormous responsibility that I don't think I'm able to do. But then again, I started doing a lot of writing. I've written for a few different articles for other magazines and started doing some stuff like that. And I started thinking to myself, well, I write, I shoot, and I worked for the magazine for all those years. I don't consider myself to be something special, but I felt that if I could put together a magazine that I felt would resonate with the people out there in a style somewhat in the classic style of what Playboy used to be, with a bit of a modern twist to it, that maybe I could pull something off like that. And so I started thinking in those terms, and that's where it began. And I've been progressing slowly until a couple of 3 months ago, actually more than a few months ago, now that I think about it, several months ago, one of the guys that came to my workshop turned out that he was a web designer, also graphic artist, that kind of thing.
Right.
And his name's Kenji Kita. I approached him about being my art director for a magazine that I was thinking about doing, and he lit up and said, man, I would love to do that. So he and I began to work together to develop the look and feel of the magazine. We had to come up with the title, the fonts, the look, the design, what we were going to put into it. And after several months of doing that, we came up with Mecé Magazine. Now, everybody's asking me, is that your name? Well, yes and no. It's not really, because there's no Y. It's M-E-C-E with an accent over the E, a French word, Mecé. And what's really astonishing, and I'm going to call it irony, is that Mecé is really a French word, and it's the name of a small village in France, which I did not know at the time. Honest to goodness, I did not know this. But it was a word that when I started looking for names for the magazine, as you might guess, every word in the dictionary either is being squatted on or up for sale for huge dollars.
Right.
And so I thought, well, the best name for the magazine would be part of my name in some way. And so we came up with Mecé. And so that's what it is. And it just happens to be the name of a village in France as well. So
a couple of things in what you said there it amazed me to see what the pandemic did for a lot of folks. Just to tell my story a little bit is I was working for Nissan auto manufacturing for 10, 11 years or something like that.
It was a while, yeah.
Yeah. So then pandemic came around, they had a brief period where we were sitting at the house for getting full pay, if not more pay than we normally would. And I'm at the house for 3 months, and I'm like, this is an opportunity right here. Like, if I don't make the jump and do something different with my life now, like, when am I ever going to have another opportunity like this?
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of folks have done that very similar thing, where they have this opportunity. Yeah, it sucks because, there's not a lot of money going around, but it gave folks an opportunity to take that time to reflect and be like, okay, is this really the direction I want to go with my life?
Reassess everything doing in their
right.
life.
You're kind of almost forced to pause for a brief moment. Well, 3 months is not what many would call brief, but and as a result, I ended up putting in my 2 weeks about 2 weeks before we were due back to work, and I started doing my own thing, a whole bunch of different things, and I'm loving it. I'm much healthier mentally now, and it's been quite the blessing in disguise. And it sounds like you kind of were forced into that similar situation where you were like, you're not getting the clients that you normally would have had. The income flows were trickling off. So you're like forced to reevaluate, okay, what direction do I actually want to go now that I have this opportunity and this time to do that?
And I'm not at all ready to quote retire. That is not even that's not even a word in my vocabulary, to be honest, at least not yet.
Yeah, and if it's
well, you also, in fairness, you kind of went through a period of where you thought you might have been retiring because of your health condition. So
back in 2016 and 17, I thought David was retiring for good, and I mean, off the earth. But
that's a strong word for retire.
Yeah, that's a strong word for retire. So, but with by the grace of God, and I'm going to say that I'm still here, and I think that moment in my life sort of began to spur me to think, okay, there's got to be a David Mecé version 2 or version 3 or version 4, whatever it is. And the magazine, I think, is it. And so my life has been like that. I mean, when I want to do something, it's one of those things that I just put everything into it. And so for me, this is it. I'm now going to make this magazine a success. I'm excited about it. I'm inspired by it, and so that's what it takes.
I got to ask the obvious question for 2022. As far as magazines go, what does the market even look like for a magazine in this day and age? Because I personally don't know anybody that subscribes to any magazines.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think it's one of those things that is. I think it's going to be one of these items that if it's a magazine that a guy or gal is inspired by or excited by, they're going to want to look at it and read it and even be maybe a part of it. That's what I'm hoping. I think that magazines per se on the newsstands are still there, but it's hit and miss on if people buy them. It's usually because of some big event that ends up on the cover of a magazine. I'm hoping that just people wishing to kind of have a bit of a throwback and enjoy what we're offering, which is a lifestyle that is still out there, and beautiful pictures of beautiful women. That's what I'm hoping will keep it out there and make it successful.
Yeah. So something you were saying is you were shoot, where'd that thought go? Good Lord.
No, I was actually going to say, because when you came to me with the idea of wanting to actually do a online magazine, I kind of thought to myself, well, let me check out and see what actual Playboy's doing today. And I was kind of surprised by the direction in which the company has gone. I didn't realize they kind of went woke. And what I'm saying by that is they're pushing the narrative of there's nothing wrong with gay people, but then you got the plus size women. It kind of almost seemed as if Playboy lost not only the edge, but then they also lost the direction in which I thought Hugh Hefner would like to have seen it gone, which is still the classic, very tasteful, very artistic way of being able to show a woman. And just, I feel like politics kind of got involved with Playboy, and they're kind of pushing this whole agenda, obviously the woke agenda, so to speak, and they're
Right,
trying to
right.
cater to everyone. And that was the one thing I liked about Playboy is they didn't cater to everyone.
Mhm.
They had one set specific demographic. That was it.
Yeah, they knew who their audience was and
Right.
served that audience well.
So
Yeah.
now I actually got onto Facebook and I checked out their Facebook page, and of course it seems like all they do now is sell clothing. Like you don't
Right.
read
They're-
much about the magazine anymore.
Well, I think the magazine is no longer, to be honest. I don't think they are publishing it.
But that's
either
my point
online
is
or- yeah.
the magazine is no longer, they're just building
Yeah.
off the brand to sell clothing, and they're pushing
and or other products.
right,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
So
Merchandising is huge for them.
Right,
I mean,
it is.
The bunny,
it's
the bunny
an
is well
iconic
known.
icon. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
feel like with what you're doing, you're kind of throwing back to the classics of Playboy. Now, one would argue, is this Playboy? Is there any character? There's not. What would be
It's
the difference
not.
between
I'm
your
not
magazine?
trying to revive Playboy. I
Right.
am trying to create my own magazine that has a vibe that's similar to the classic stylings of the magazine back in the days that I worked there, the
Right.
80s and 90s and that sort of thing.
Mhm.
And with that's simply being a lifestyle magazine that offers travel articles about cars, I mean, these are things that I enjoy, that I love. And that's what I'm doing. And then my other love is photographing women.
Right.
And so that's the other part of it. And my style of photographing them is in that more classic style.
Yes.
And at the same time. So that's what I'm offering.
So
And if there's those people out there, which I'm hoping to reach eventually, that were subscribers to classic Playboy and enjoyed that look and feel, well, hopefully I'll reach them, and the magazine will become successful. I mean, I'm not trying to start a dynasty here. I mean, that's not even in my world right now.
Well,
I mean,
I've had a chance. You had sent over the first issue for me to review, and I've had a chance to look at it, and I was very impressed. And it kind of took me back to my teenage years of sneaking a Playboy into my bedroom and
Right.
checking that out. So it kind of brought back those memories. And so I wouldn't say that it is Playboy, but it does have that feel to it, that
Right.
excitement of seeing beautiful women again.
Yeah, I don't have jokes in it, those
Right.
weird, funny jokes.
Right.
I don't have that kind of thing going on. There's not a playmate. There's not
Right.
that. There is a centerfold model, as well as a couple of 3 other models in the magazine.
Mhm.
But I call my centerfold model something very different. I've come up with a title for her. She is my model in the middle, which is exactly who she is.
Model in the middle.
Very direct and to the point.
Yeah, very direct to the point. And it's
Yeah.
different. It's, she's not a pet. She's not a playmate. She's the model in the middle. And then I've got other feature models as well that will grace the pages, as they say. And so, along with the articles that's in the magazine as well. So, in fact, I just wrote something yesterday that I'm probably going to be in the May issue. It's a travel piece, because I am traveling right now myself. It's a travel piece that I think works and will be in it. And again, it'll be something fun. That's the other part of it too, is I'm trying to make it to where it's a fun magazine for people. They look at what we're putting in there and they're going, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that. Or that's really cool. That's fun. Keeping it current, a little bit of sophistication to it as well as to what we're presenting. And then the variety of beautiful women that we put in. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's going to be about.
Why do you think it is magazines like this don't exist anymore?
I think that it basically, so many came out over the years and they sort of diluted each other to a point. And then the stuff got to be, there's a lot of, there's a lot of magazines with naked women in it that are just not very good. And I think that didn't help at all. I mean, they just, so I'm trying to keep myself at a fairly high standard, a nice high level that will keep, the photographs are going to be tasteful and beautiful. So I'm hoping that by doing that, it'll keep me at a place where people will want to buy my magazine and take a look at it and read it. And when I say read it, I know the joke back in the day was, oh, I buy Playboy for the articles. Well, yeah. Well, I'm hoping they buy my magazine for the articles, for real, as well as the photographs. So
it's almost like you're over here trying to serve up some Red Lobster, and these other companies are coming out with like Burger King.
Well, that, you know,
thank God they're not sponsors of the show.
Speaking of that, you know, by the way, we are.
I love. Sorry to interrupt. I love how I just showed my level of sophistication in class. That the nicest restaurant. Nicest restaurant I can think of is Red Lobster.
Red Lobster.
Like, I know there's nicer restaurants, guys. I just don't know what they are.
Yeah, I hope I'm above a Red Lobster, but okay.
Yeah. That's my own. That's my own limitations on that.
Well, then again, what's that new country western song that? What is Applebee's? That's his finer things, right?
Apple bottom jeans.
Apple bottom jeans.
Or I don't know. It's called.
I think that was late '90s.
He mentions how he goes out. He goes to Applebee's or something. Yeah, that's pretty.
Oh,
funny.
The country song. Yeah, Applebee's on a late night. Yeah, that
on a late night.
Yeah, that sounds right. I know what song you're talking about.
No, so I mean, kind of segue into where you're currently at with the magazine now. What has been the feedback from the people that have actually have messaged you or left comments saying, "Hey, David, let's start a magazine"? You know, I mean, what's been the feedback now that they've been telling you to do this for so long? Now that you've done it, where are you at with it?
The feedback has been really, really positive, and it's really been fun. I mean, the other part of it is the models, the few that I've reached out to, that I'm going to want to have in the magazine, all very excited about the chance to be in it. So that really gives me an excitement that, you know, oh wow, this is cool, that they're really interested in being in it. They can't wait, that sort of thing. And the other part of it too is the fact that the way I've designed the magazine, the girls who do appear in the magazine are going to be receiving some income from it. They're actually going to be paid.
Nice.
So this is different because there was a thing that came out a few months ago, maybe it was several months ago, about how some of the magazines, especially even some of the foreign edition publications of Playboy and some of the other magazines out there, were charging models to be in the magazine or on their cover. Huge dollars, by the way.
Wow.
And I wanted to try to find a way or figure out a way to make it back to where it was the way it should be. And a model gets paid for her modeling rather than she paying the magazine to get published. And I think I've come up with a solution to that. And it's a pretty good solution. And I think it's fair. And the girls that I've mentioned it to go nuts. They go, oh my gosh, yes. And so that's another exciting part of this. And it's what I think is making it possible for me to even try to accomplish this, is that way of doing it. And that way I can pay them and make it worth their while.
Now, as far as the models are concerned, I mean, are we looking at a huge demographic or like age difference here? Or I mean, are you all over the spectrum, or kind of give us an idea of what you're looking at as far as some of your models?
That's thanks for asking that question, because what's really exciting is one of the things I want to do is to broaden the age range of what is considered to be model quality women to appear in the magazine. Mm-hmm. Just to let you know, I just photographed someone who's 56 years old who looks absolutely incredible, and she's going to be in the magazine. I have another one who's 54 that I'm photographing as well. She will appear in the magazine down the road as well as the other women that are in their 20s and early 30s, that kind of thing. So if a model is what I call photogenic enough to appear in the magazine and feels comfortable with it and is excited about it, absolutely, I'm going to give them a shot. And I'm pretty excited by the fact that I found these two women that are just stunning, absolutely stunning.
I wonder if that's going to open up the door for more women of that age bracket to want to do something like that, you know,
I don't know. With both of these ladies that I've been talking to, the first one that I photographed, she's a nurse. The other one that I'm about to photograph next month is an artist, and both of them said that this is so exciting to them, that it empowers them. It shows that women can be in their 50s and still be sexy and beautiful and that sort of thing. And I agree totally. And so
I'm a little biased because I love older women, so to me, I'm looking forward to those issues. I'll be honest with you.
You should. And by the way, the nurse actually tested for Playboy back in the late 90s, I think it was, when she was only 20 or something, and she didn't make it. And boy, I don't know why, because she still looks freaking amazing. So this is great. I mean, here she is. She tried out for Playboy, didn't make it into Playboy, but now she's going to be in my magazine, and she is very excited about it. And it was funny how that all came about, by the way. It was via Instagram. She and I began to talk, and I happened to mention that I was doing my own magazine. What did she think about that? And she got very excited about it and said, "Oh, I love your photographs. Would you ever consider photographing an older woman?" And I go, "Well, how old is older?" And she goes, "I'm in my 50s. I'm like, "Well, do you mind sending me some photographs?" No. She sent me some pictures. I'm like, holy moly. Wow. Just the pictures she sent me, I went, yeah.
I'd like to get her on the show and just kind of pick her brain as far as what made her decide to do this at her age.
No, I think that would be awesome. I think it would be incredible.
I just, because I've often wondered too, is there a level of, I guess, workout or healthy way of living for individuals at that age to still look the way they did, that they do? Are they doing something different that most aren't? Maybe that's something you might consider throwing into your magazine is, eating healthy and living healthier lives. And, and maybe that's something they do. I don't know. I'm just kind of throwing something out there.
Well,
as far as
I have to think that she does work out. She also eats. I think she eats pretty well. She being a nurse, of course, I think she would know. But then again, the artist that I'm going to photograph in the same way, she looks absolutely incredible. But she does exercise regularly, tries to watch what she eats, that sort of thing. So as do I. I mean, I exercise daily myself.
You're sexy too, David.
Yeah. I can't wait to see your photo spread in this.
David in the middle.
David, the middle model.
Yeah. Well, that's not going to happen. But I do that. I do that because, I mean, I'm still shooting. I'm still lifting gear. I'm still setting up stands and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I have to keep myself at that level as well in order to do this. Right. And so I know what it takes, and I really revel in the fact that these women are doing the same thing and keeping themselves looking that way. And you know what? I'm going to reward them by putting them in the magazine, and they're super excited by it. So I think, yes, I think it would be a great interview with either one or both of them at some point.
Yeah, that would be definitely an interesting conversation. Just not only their desire to want to pose nude, but then also kind of pick their brains as far as their lifestyle habits, because in order to look a certain way or feel a certain way, you have to adjust your life to live that way.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're living in a world now where we're plagued with obesity and heart disease and all this other stuff, and it's just like to kind of push a healthy lifestyle, and this is what you can look like at this age. There's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, one of the things that I did 4 or 5 years ago was I gave up sugar. I try to keep as little sugar into my system as I can. It was a difficult thing to do, man, because I love sweets. Right. But I have been able to do it, and I can see and feel the difference that it's made.
And it's probably why a lot of people like doing keto. It's because you remove carbs and sugars from out of your diet. So
right. But, I eat sort of that kind of that keto diet a bit. I don't say I'm a keto guy, but I mean I do touch on that. I do try to eat in that way. So
now, as far as interviews go, I mean, is that something that you are looking at doing more of? And not only that, but have you thought about doing like video vlogs to be a part of your online magazine, to kind of give people a behind the scenes look at what you do?
Well, what we are doing is we're shooting behind the scenes videos of my photo shoots, especially for the model in the middle. and
Okay.
those will be offered in a way, a link inside the magazine, as well as you saw with Stephanie. By the way, Stephanie Manescu is my first model in the middle.
Yeah.
We're doing, you know how in the old days, Playboy had the Playmate bio sheet behind her centerfold?
Yeah.
Well, we've done sort of a similar vibe with that, except we're doing it with video. It's a video interview with our model in the middle.
Yeah.
And that is up on our website, which is www.mecemagazine.com. I had to throw the little plug out there, guys. Sorry, but it's
how dare you?
But it's going to be running across the bottom of the screen.
Nice little scroll.
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
not
little
get
scroll
carried
across the
away
bottom.
now.
But the fact is, people. I think it's a way for people out there to get to see these women in live in a video, like right now. Like they're seeing me, they're seeing how I am. I'm very friendly and open, as you guys know, and and it gives them a chance to see the girls laugh and they tell jokes and that sort of thing. I mean, my May model in the middle, her name is Autumn. She actually dropped an F-bomb during her interview, and we're going to leave it in. I mean, it's her. I mean, it's just what she is, how she is.
That's
And
good
so-
that you're going to leave it authentic like
Yeah,
that.
excellent.
And something just to kind of maybe throw your way as a suggestion for that segment is
Sure.
maybe collect questions from people that are subscribed to the magazine to ask the model. That way they feel like they're kind of connected to that, that model in the middle in some sort of way, that they're responding to a question that came from somebody that subscribed.
Now that you bring that up, we are considering doing that as sort of a separate thing and making it so that at some point we will take questions from readers to offer to them and then do another interview segment with the model in the middle and allow them to, and then ask them the questions that these people sent in. Yeah, that's a great idea. And yes, we do want to do that.
Cool.
But the one that we do with the model in the middle, we call it our top 10 model in the middle questions. And
Right.
that's the interview segment that is what will be each month when she becomes when the new month hits, like in May, there will be a new video join the previous month's model in the middle. So you can see both, either or. And that will just continue throughout the year, that they will have these top 10 questions.
Now, have you
segments.
considered doing a model in the middle of the year? Like,
I know
I know
you're
it's
the
similar to
second person.
Playboy, but
you're the second person to ask me that.
and the only reasons why I'm throwing that out there, and just hear me out, is at the end of the year, let the fans vote for the model in the middle of the year. Whereas,
seriously, let them, because Hef was always the one who chose the Playmate of the Year.
Right.
I know people thought that they were voting, but okay, sorry, a little inside information. No, Hef chose the model.
But let the fans do
Playmate
it.
of the Year.
Put a poll up of all 12 models, and let the fans choose who they believe should, be the model in the middle of the year. I think that would be a very cool thing to not only connect your audience, but then actually feel like it's giving them an opportunity to have a say in, who is.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, okay. You know what? That's
just putting that out there.
So
yeah, no. I'll throw that out into the mix into my guys that are working. By the way,
I tell you what, maybe put a poll on Facebook and just ask the audience, ask your friends, hey, what do you think of this idea? And the reason why I'm suggesting that is because I tend to find that when people ask polls, you're getting a community sense of what they want. So you're getting that feedback. So if you pose a question on, say, Facebook, and do a poll and just say, hey, how would you guys feel letting, subscribers pick the model in the middle of the year, and just kind of see what kind of feedback you get.
So slight change of pace here. Let's say hypothetically, and nothing personal about this at all, is like, let's say I am a 38-year-old male who identifies as a woman and would like to be a model in your mag. I've seen great success lately in current events where men are
competing in women's sports.
And I'm just wondering if there would be an opportunity for
No. Before you go any further,
that was honestly a dream of mine. That was a dream of mine. I just wanted to be.
He's being sarcastic.
It will have to remain a dream. And by the way, I have nothing against these guys that think that, except that my magazine is devoted to
biological women.
Biological women appearing in its issues. Nothing against them. And if they want to, they can start their own magazine, which is what I think they should do, if that's the case.
I don't agree with that, but
I mean, if that's what they want to do and people want to see it and there's a market for it, hey, let them do their thing, you know?
Yeah, but you're pushing a narrative that, I don't know. We can get into a whole conversation on that. It's kind of getting away from the purpose of this show, but
totally joking. I don't want to be in your damn magazine. Right?
Well, no, but I am a magazine of biological women. So there you go.
It's kind of sad that he's got to put that out there.
Oh, he didn't.
I know.
Come on.
No, actually, given the current events and seeing the way the way of the world right now, you almost kind of have to be specific as far as what you're looking for, and that kind of sets me up for my next question for you, David.
Okay.
What kind of women are you looking for to pose in your magazine?
They have to be photogenic. They must be in what I call in shape, and that means to be. It doesn't mean they have to be athletic or anything like that, but just to be healthy. And also some of the other items that I put into this, besides the physical appearance, is what do they do and what are their aspirations? Mm-hmm. I mean, Stephanie is, if you look at her interview video, she is a dynamic young lady that's got all kinds of things going on, and it makes her so interesting, and it shows what someone can do to succeed and be something and do something in life and be successful. She's a chef. She models. She's now become a photographer and into herself. So that's another side of it as well. I want something editorially interesting about them, along with their physical looks and that sort of thing too.
I kind of like that because I guess maybe it's because I've kind of grown up a little bit, you know, because I can remember back when I was a kid looking at Playboy. I just want to look at the nudie magazines. That was it. You know, now it's like, obviously I'm a little bit older. I still want to see the nudie magazines, but then I also kind of flip it over and be like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So my stance on that is somewhat changed. But I do like the idea that you're kind of incorporating a little bit of their personal life, their hobbies, and, you know, their aspirations as far as what they want to do. If they're, you know,
absolutely,
if they're married or got kids, or
such a great opportunity.
So.
It's such a great opportunity to inject like principles and values and stuff too. Just, I mean,
to have the platform to do that. Yeah.
How many times am I, you know, is somebody going to, you know, I don't know, whatever magazine and looking at what they want to look at, and then next thing you know, you got some kind of story where there's a moral to it, or I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there, but
no. It's an awesome way for these ladies to talk about what their aspirations are, what they'd like to see out there in the world, to talk about what they think could be a way for them to become successful at whatever they want to do. Talk about it, explore it, share it. By the way, I do another, just getting away from this slightly, there's another segment in the magazine where I call it Q&A 7. It's not like the main interview that Playboy used to do where they had like, you know, pages and pages, but it is a 7-question interview segment that I'm going to be offering to celebrities, athletes, maybe one of you guys, personalities, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I ask them 7 questions that gives people an insight into who they are, how they became successful, and that sort of thing, in a way to offer that to people out there so that they can continue to see what it takes to become a success and to be successful. I'm tiring of seeing how things are being watered down or attempted to be watered down, and everybody's the same. No, we're not all the same. There are people who can succeed and do succeed. And I want people to see that and offer that as inspiration for them so that they can do the same thing.
I think the idea of success is different in everybody's eyes. It's not all the same. You know,
Correct.
Some people think making $100,000 a year is being successful.
Correct.
Some people might think just owning a decent home you feel like you've made it. You've become successful.
Correct.
Some people might think buying a new car, you're successful. So it's kind of nice to hear everybody's interpretation of what success is to them. If it's just hard work and wanting to save up to retire or, start a business or something like that. So now my question, and I was thinking about this earlier, obviously Playboy had their infamous parties. Is there any plans for later on down the line, since you live out in Vegas, that we might get an invite to I don't know, a Mecé Magazine party or?
Well, okay.
I got an idea. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, here's something that we are planning and we are in the process of doing, and that is offering ad pages to companies, and that could be nightclubs. It could be CBD companies, the more provocative style of company that make liquor companies. If that is indeed the case, what we might do is, yes, we might put together a party as a way for those companies to share their products under the name of Mecé Magazine's big party that's going to be happening. It's not going to be Midsummer Nights. I'm not going to call it that. Midsummer Night Dream. But
Midsummer Mornings. I don't know.
Yeah, Midsummer Morning. No.
Because it lasts until the morning,
What about Hot Nights in Vegas?
There you go.
But yes, we will probably offer something similar to that. And of course, we would have our models in the middle and maybe some of our other models that appear in the magazine there to meet people and that sort of thing as a promotional way to do it.
Yeah, it'd be a great way for everybody to network, as far as the models with companies
and help grow the magazine. No, I do not own a mansion, nor do I plan on buying one.
Look, if you're going to invite me, I'm coming in a bathrobe, dude. I am going to show up in a robe. I've got a really nice one too. It's an American flag with a hoodie. I'm showing up.
Okay, if you want to do a pajama party, then maybe we might have to do that.
There
awesome.
You go.
I'm wearing my kimono.
Gosh.
So wearing it. It's so silky smooth.
We would make it fun for you. I promise. We really would.
Yeah. So yes, there is that in the back of our minds as well, because we know that promotion is a huge part of this. Yeah.
I mean, we might kind of play around a little bit behind what we're saying, but there is a logic and reason behind it, because behind the scenes, we do a lot of networking and we understand the business model of connecting with one another and the ventures of getting out there and putting ourselves out there to connect with other people. And, I mean, it's just, I've always enjoyed networking with so many different people, because you might run into a possibility of something big might happening. You kind of have to put yourself out there, like what you're doing with a magazine. I mean, this is a big step for you, and I know it is. We have touched down on that many conversations when I've talked to you over the phone, and I am enjoying the fact that I'm watching one of my friends put out a magazine that he's talked so passionately about, and to see that finally come true for you, I love that. I love that for you. I think it's great to see your friends become successful, and I hope that the magazine is a success for you. I think it already is, because you did something that everybody has pushing you to do, but you've wanted to do this. Yeah. So to have that opportunity I think it's really cool. I think it's fascinating.
Your infectious personality comes across, and your excitement for this project comes across. And I would thoroughly encourage you to continue to make that level of excitement shown. Be on as many podcasts as you can.
Get yourself out there, man.
Just this magazine is as much about the models as it is about you too.
You know who I'm reaching out to or attempting to reach out to is Joe Rogan. I'm told that he might be interested in interviewing me. So if you guys think that might be someone that I should try to get in front of, I mean,
I personally do. I mean, Joe Rogan would be a great platform to get on that. Just, for me, it's kind of neat seeing how our relationship as friends have kind of developed over the last several years. I mean, the last time we had you on the show, when we spoke to you, COVID had just hit. I was furloughed. Daniel wasn't working at the time. I was spending most of my days out fishing, not doing shit. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was doing my time off during COVID.
Dreadfully boring.
And I was sitting in my my house in Las Vegas watching every movie I could get my hands on. So yeah, I know it was horrible. It was just unbelievable, man.
And for the folks that don't know, and of course I'm going to go a little personal here with you, David, you and I had a conversation over the phone. You were extremely worried about your financial situation because of what COVID did to you.
Yes.
To see you on the other side of this now, that's what makes this so excited for me to see what you have coming up, you know, and for the future of the magazine and what you've created.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, what does the future look like for Mecé Mag?
Well, here's the thing. Speaking of that financial part of this, so people know this, I have on my own did this. And I'm not bragging. I'm just basically saying what it takes to produce this is incredible. I've formed my corporation. It costs money. I've done photo shoots for this, costing money. It's all my own dollar. And you know, I actually did reach out to a few people when I started thinking that I was going to do this, because people said, David, you've got to get some money to make this happen and some big dollars. Right. And I kind of agreed with them. And I now that I'm doing this, I could easily see how I could use some dollars to help do that. But you know what? A friend of mine told me, he said, David, here's my advice to you. Right now, I think that this is your baby. You take it, you run with it, you make it work, you make it happen, take your time. Because I was going to try to launch in January. Then it was February.
I remember that.
Then it was February, and then it was March. But then it just didn't work out, and so now the premiere issue hit the first day of April. And like I wrote in Facebook, I go, "This is not an April Fool's joke. This is for real." Yeah. And so the premiere issue is the April issue. And so you know what? We've got a May that's about to hit. Then we've got a June plan. We've got a July plan. I've already got our models in the middle already in place. We've got other models. I'm talking to other models. It's an exciting time, guys. I mean, I have to tell you. I mean, I'm on a tour right now that I'm about to finish up in about 2 or 3 weeks, about 2.5-3 weeks. Right. And once I do, I am jumping both feet into working on the magazine, and that's after May 6th. I am jumping in with both feet.
So I notice you keep saying we are doing this and we're doing that. Who's we? What's your team looking like?
My team is, I have my art director, like I said, Kenji. I've got a gentleman who I've known since, the 80s. His name is Lou Maggio. He lives down in Tampa, Florida. Lou is helping me getting some travel pieces together, that kind of thing. And then another gentleman by the name of Hal Schmidt. He's in Central California. He has a winery that he loves, and he's a foodie. He's doing my food articles, wine articles, and that kind of thing, liquor articles, and that kind of stuff. I've got a young woman. Her name is Jeannie, that I'm hoping that will help me with the automotive side of things. So I've got several people involved with me that are helping me put this together. Still though, I'm probably still doing 65 to 70% of it myself, photographically and writing wise.
Right.
Without them, I wouldn't be able to do it. Because I mean, being a one-man band can only take you so far. Yeah, You've got to have support. You've got to have support, and these guys are doing a great job for me, and I'm excited by having them on board, and they're excited about it as well. By the way, in fact, let me back up just 2 seconds. The gentleman Hal Schmidt, he's a former fighter pilot. I mean, he was a Top Gun instructor. I mean, that's how good this guy was, and so. It was he, literally, last year that reached out to me and said, you know what, David, you really do need to do a magazine. And after he said that to me, it made me start thinking, you know what, I think I should. I need to do it. And so that's when I really jumped in. So nice. He basically built the fire under my butt and said, you got to do this.
So let me ask you, so give us, you're talking about you've got the issues coming out over the next couple of months. Can you kind of give us some insight on what to expect in those issues without giving out full details? Like, is there one model in particular that you can throw out there that might grace the cover of this magazine?
Well, the cover model for May, her name is Autumn Hughes.
Okay.
You've seen photographs I've done of her already on Facebook and Instagram. She's got green hair.
Yes.
Got some green hair. She's gorgeous, absolutely phenomenal face. She will be our model in the middle. I've got a feature. I will say this. I did a feature with another model out of Vegas where I made her look like a Spartan King Leonidas in the desert, complete with helmet, spear, that sort of thing. And she's going to be in it, along with another feature model in there as well. There's another article about cars. So it's going to be another full-featured magazine month.
One of the things I really enjoy about your Facebook posts when you post your personal, your photo shoots and whatnot is your description of what cameras use, the lighting, the story behind it. Is that going to be included as part of the
Absolutely.
experience?
I'm beginning to add that sort of stuff at the end of when I do when I talk about the model in the middle. I will put down at the end of it or sort of into it. I use this or that to do the photographs. Oh, and by the way, always at the end of each issue is going to be the best way to describe it is an excerpt, a section every month where there's a story from my life, either before Playboy, during Playboy, that sort of thing, or about photography, that kind of thing. And it's called A Loving Look Back. So
I like that. Now, before we had you, before we pressed the record button, I had mentioned Barbara Moore. And of course, for those that don't know who she is, she's a former, Playboy model. And
very popular one.
Yes, very popular one. We've had her on the show before with us. So what news, if you have any, of when it pertains to Barbara Moore?
Well, I don't have any as yet. I just recently reached out to Barbara to ask if she might be interested in being in the magazine.
Okay.
And I'm still waiting to hear. I mean, I literally did that this morning. So I might, if I were to check now, maybe she's answered. I don't know. But she is someone I think would be really fun. I haven't worked with Barbara in years. I love working with her. She's absolutely still insanely hot looking. So I think she'd be a perfect choice. So we'll wait and see.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
And are you looking, do you want to take this opportunity to put out a call for additional help you might be looking for additional people that you might need support from, or,
what's really, thank you, Daniel. I am offering chances for writers out there, if they've got an interesting story that has to do with travel or that has to do with maybe automobiles, that sort of thing, even maybe food when they're traveling, maybe maybe it's New Orleans or whatever. If they're interested, you can, if they go to the website, mecemagazine.com, go scroll down to the bottom there. There's a place that's called submissions at mecemagazine.com. They can click on that, send me an email about who they are, what they're thinking about, and we can talk. I've already had a few people do that already.
And
so I've got to,
Yeah, and for those of you that listen to us and follow us that live in the Nashville area, we know a lot of people. So if there's anybody watching this or want to partake in David's magazine, definitely reach out to him and give him a little taste of Nashville, maybe to add to his magazine. So
absolutely. And of course they'll get a full credit. If it's, let's say it's a restaurant that might be really cool, or a club or something like that, that might be really cool for us to do an article about them. I'd be totally up for that. So,
dude, when we went to DC, sorry, this just popped in my mind. When we went to DC, we found in the middle of the night a 24-hour Paki Indian restaurant that was selling like euros, but in like a Pakistani style. I don't even know how to describe it. It was so good. I don't even remember what it's called, but
oh wow, that's
God,
cool.
It was like we were looking for like something to have in the middle of the night, but we did not want
McDonald's.
Like there was McDonald's and those normal like things. We're like, we do not want that. And we just happened to be driving and we're giving up, and we seen this place and we're like, holy crap, what is this? And it was busy at 2 a.m. I was like, holy crap. We go in there and there's like everybody in there is like Pakistani and like dressed super proper, like they just got out of prom. We're like, this is bizarre. But
that's awesome.
The food
man.
was amazing. The guys that behind the counter couldn't speak hardly a lick of English, and it was just like, it was an experience. It was so good. I wish I could remember the name of this place, but if anybody has been there and knows what it is, please tell me what it is, because I will be going back and visiting again when I go to DC.
And let me know. Let me throw this out there now that you brought that up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm currently in Everett, Washington, actually,
Okay.
Mukilteo or something like that. I'm next door to the Boeing plant. That's where I'm staying. Well, I found this on Instagram. There is what would you call it? Like a coffee shop up about an hour and a half drive from Everett, Washington, up in Northwest Washington, just before you probably get into Canada. That is called Barista something, and all of the girls that work there wear lingerie, and they're the ones who serve you. And there's one in particular, I'm going to have to say this, that I'm actually about halfway about to reach out to them and say, I'd love to have your Jordan, her name's Jordan, appear in the magazine, and we might do a story about your barista little shop if that were to happen. So I may have to reach out to them because she is pretty cute.
That's the beauty of how all these like networking connections and everything works, and we all work together to help each other. Like that is such a cool like idea and story, and like it sounds like it's a win for everybody involved. So I don't see any reason why you shouldn't do that for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be fun. I think they would go nuts because it's like this tiny little shop up there, and they're on Instagram, and these girls are all posting these photos of them in their lingerie because that's how they dress to serve coffee.
Wow.
Pretty cool idea to me. I mean,
yeah, you can make a whole spread of that right there, just one magazine dedicated to all the women that work up there.
Great little story, that's the kind of thing. Well, you remember the Hooters pictorial back in the day.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that. So.
Yeah, so whatever. It could be kind of cool.
Is there anything else you'd like to cover before we wrap up for the day?
No, I just appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah.
And, it's, I'm just excited by the fact that I was able to get this launched and that we are going to continue to do this on a monthly basis. That's a huge step, gentlemen. Yeah. I mean, I see all these, what they call themselves magazines, but in a lot of cases, it's just picture books. And they say they're monthly, but they don't. They'll be out a month, and then there's a couple of months that go by and they're not, and all that. But I am going to do my utmost best to adhere to the schedule and do a monthly magazine going forward. So that's awesome. That's the way it's going to be.
Congratulations. I hope all the best for you for sure. It's very exciting to start a new project, and to see it succeed is like, that's going to be amazing.
Absolutely, man. And it's been fun knowing you over the last couple of years and getting, to talk about your life a little bit, and of course your time in Playboy, and then kind of seeing what you've got going for the future. And like you said, you're nowhere near ready to retire. So I think the best is yet to come for you, David. And I wish you nothing but success in all your endeavors. And, and thank you for connecting us to the people in your life that have been on our show, So it's kind of turned into a little bit of a family, So that's kind of the cool thing of doing podcasts.
He should have called the magazine Retire.
Oh my God!
Then he can retire every month.
On that note, no.
Bye, actually, David.
You know what I will do though, Anthony, is when we get off this interview, I'm going to reach out to Billy and Renee, those two women that I'm going to be photographing next month, and see if they might be interested in doing an interview with you guys, because I think you would love having them on. I think it's always fascinating to kind of not only get to know them, but then also kind of talk about their experiences working up to, the point of a moment in their life where they decided to say, hey, I want to do this. I've never done this before. This would be a lot of fun. And, just kind of get more of an inside depth look of what kind of goes through the process of someone's mind who wants to pose naked, not only in front of you, but then in front of the world. But then they've also got a life that they want to share and things that they've been through. So it's fascinating all the way around for me. Well, let me just say this. Billy is a cancer survivor. Oh. So her story is remarkable beyond just what we just talked about. So
yeah, that would definitely be something I would be curious.
Absolutely. To hear. And that's another item in this that makes her so amazing and so incredible, and why I wanted her to be in the magazine. So, I mean, this is insane. This is just she has this remarkable story, and so it makes it that much more amazing. So.
All right, David, one more time for the idiots that haven't been paying attention this whole time. Where can folks find you and your magazine?
It's www.mecemagazine.com. No Y, just mecemagazine.com. And that's the website.
Excellent. And I appreciate you coming on today, and look forward to
I appreciate you guys having me.
And we'll talk to you soon, David.
Absolutely. We'll stay in touch.